Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today we are doing, for the first time in a while, we got a tutorial, a foul mouth pinball tutorial. This is Earthshaker, and this game launched on the AtGames 4KP today, the day that I'm recording this video. So I wanted to put together this maybe not so quick tutorial to try to, give folks that are maybe playing this for the first time an understanding of, what the shots are and what you're trying to do on this table. So hopefully for anyone watching this, you'll find this helpful. So without further ado, let's do it. Let's jump in. I've got my handy pointer and we are ready to go. So a couple of things to note kind of right off the bat. So this is the Zen version being played on the AtGames 4KP. But this, in my opinion, applies to any kind of Zen version that you're playing, whether you're playing it on Pinball FX or, Zen Pinball World or Pinball FX Go, whatever the hell they're calling that now. On basically any of these Zen platforms, you probably want to turn off visual extras, and here's why. So I'm going to show you here. So this is what the table looks like with visual extras on. Now, normally I try to turn these off for a lot of these Williams tables because I feel like all the added animations and things just kind of add a little bit of stutter and delay at times because there's just more animations, and sometimes I find any animations distracting. So a lot of times on these tables I will turn them off regardless. But in this particular instance, this is an example of like how I think that visual extras actually take away from the table a little bit, and here's why. It's mainly this building right here. So this is the kind of one of the main kind of indicators of the modes and what you're doing on the table, and it indicates the zone that you need to hit. And when you have visual extras on, it just looks like a building with lit lights. But when you actually turn them off, this is what the original table looks like, and they actually have numbered lights for each of the windows, and that tells you what zones you need to hit. So in my opinion, I feel like it's much better to give a quick look, and you can see which ones are flashing and which zones you need to look for, which ones you need to hit. When it's turned on, it's just not as quick of a view. You have to kind of look at it and think, okay, is that number 8, 9? What number am I looking for? Now, granted, I know the zone number is going to be flashing on the play field, so you say, Dennis, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay, great. If you want to keep it on, be my guest. Me, I personally think it's a little easier to have it turned off. You have a quick look at what numbers are flashing, which ones you need to hit, and then you can kind of find and identify them here on the playfield. I'll leave it up to you, but that is just my recommendation, kind of just putting it out there before you start. To me, it makes playing the game much, much easier on the Zen version. All right, enough of that bullshit. Moving on. So let's talk about the shots and the layout of the playfield and kind of what you need to do in this game. So starting with the plunge, most logical start, right? Plunge the ball, comes up here, and it comes through this kind of whirly bird here. Okay, so within this, there are 3 different holes. There's a 25K hole, 25K plus spot, 50K plus spot, 100K plus spot, right? And then there's a ramp all the way down. Okay, so each of these obviously awards a varying amount of points depending on the strength of which you plunge. That'll determine how hard the ball goes around and if it goes in. Now, obviously hitting these is always a good idea because the plus spot means it's giving you one of the zones that you need to hit in order to kind of move progress forward on the table. So that's always a good idea. And then of course, if you do a full plunge, you'll get this, what they call the overpass, where the ball will come all the way down. If you do a full plunge and the ball comes all the way down, you will still get 25,000 points, but instead of spotting a zone, it'll actually give you it'll give you 1 mile, which we'll talk about in a second. And sometimes that might be more valuable depending on what you're doing at that particular time. So anyway, so there's 3 different amounts. Plus, you can just plunge it all the way down to get a mile. And then, of course, after you plunge and the ball comes down, if you look here, this center lane has two different lights here. One light is 50,000, so that's a super skill shot. So if that light is lit after you plunge, you hit the center lane, it's another 50,000 points. So something that to keep an eye out for when you're looking to, again, just accumulate scores on your plunges. Okay, so that's the plunge. So on this table, there are what I would consider two main shots that you really need to practice, really need to learn, and really need to get good at, okay? And it's the two ramps. It is the center ramp here, and it's the crossing shot here. Now, obviously, the crossing shot is the most important one that you want to hit in the table, but I think that the center lane is pretty close. So, I would consider 1A and 1B. Okay, so starting with the center lane. So the center ramp awards you, so when you're during the course of play, these lights won't be lit up. So a normal shot will award you 1 mile when you shoot this lane. Okay, once you shoot it for the first time, you'll see there's a little 2 miles arrow light that will light, and if you hit it again, it'll award you 2 miles. And those miles add up. I'll get to it in a second, but they basically count towards your end of ball bonus, and they can add up quickly. And then, of course, they also can get you extra balls as well. So it is important to accumulate those miles. That's why I consider this to be an important shot, because over the course of the game, it's going to mean points. It's going to mean end of ball bonuses, and it's going to mean extra balls. So I stand by this is probably just as important as the crossing shot. Okay, so in addition to miles, it also advances the value of this capture ball, which is not super important to the game, but it's just kind of good to know. Is like when you hit this, you'll see the lights will go up for an amount of time, and if you hit this capture ball, you can get those points. Again, probably not the best shot, but something worth noting. That's how you increase those, is that center lane. Okay, and then also that's actually about it. So we covered the super skill shot, we covered the miles, and we covered increasing that. So that's essentially what you get from the center shot. Now, of course, the other, probably the most important shot of the game is the crossing shot that you hit with your upper flipper over here. And this this is most of the game of what you want to do in this game is collected here. So this one here, when you hit this crossing shot and the ball goes all the way up and goes into this capture up here, okay, it has to make it all the way up into the capture. Okay, first of all, it awards you 3 miles. So the miles we talked about, they add up over the course of the game, and they're super important. It will also spot you an uncompleted zone. So if you're working through the, collecting the zones, which again, we'll talk about in a little bit more, this will actually give you a zone and spot you a zone, just like they spot you a zone over here. Okay. So, so that is important. Let's see, 3 miles, uncompleted zone. This is where you lock balls, of course. You'll see there's a green lock arrow. You'll lock balls there. Super important. We'll get to more of that in a minute. And then, of course, when you are playing multi-ball, both multi-ball, so there's 2 different multi-ball modes in this table. When you're in multi-ball, you'll see there's a red jackpot light. This is where you collect the jackpot, and this is also on the main multi-ball, it's the jackpot. On the quick 2-ball multi-ball, it's a 1,000,000 shot. So bottom line is, all your big points are from that crossing shot on this table. So you absolutely have to learn and get good at making that shot up this ramp. Okay, so there's lots to cover. More we'll get to. We'll get to, talk in detail about multi-balls and zones in just a second. Okay. So other shots and other things around the table that are of note. The shelter. So the shelter is this shot here. So it's basically right between the 2 ramps, right in here. This is one place where you can lock a ball for multi-ball mode. This is also where you shoot the ball to collect extra balls, and this is also where you shoot the ball to do like your mystery random awards when you shoot it in here. So Again, a lot of stuff you can do by shooting into this capture hole. And when you shoot the ball into this capture hole, the ball kind of gets, deposited, I will say, over here. And then it basically will eject right down into this in lane and right to your flipper from there. So again, it's always good to keep an eye on it. I am guilty of it. I shoot the ball in here and I kind of relax a bit. Sometimes this ball can go in there and can come out and eject here pretty quick, probably before you expect it. So be ready when you shoot the ball in there. Sometimes there's a delay, sometimes there's not, and the ball will come out here real quick and you have to be ready. So keep that in mind. So that is the shelter. Okay, capture hole. This is the capture hole right here. It's also zone 5. So you want to, every time you put the ball in there, it'll grab it, it'll hold it for a second, and then it'll eject this way nice and softly right to your upper flipper for that crossing shot. So again, super important to be able to learn how to hit this shot consistently. On the 4KP version and in the time that I played it, it can be a bit more finicky than other versions I've played. Sometimes you can shoot the ball right up in there and it just doesn't capture. But for the most part, it's fine. So, and then that is where also this capture hole is also where you lock the ball for the quick multi-ball and start that mode as well. So, and again, there's 2 different lights here. One when it's a zone that's lit, and then one if you're want to lock your ball there. Okay, so that's the capture hole. Next is the billboard. Okay, so the billboard, and I'm not sure why they call it billboard. I mean, I guess because it is a billboard, but essentially the billboard is these 3 drop targets. Okay, so if you ever see a mention of the billboard and increasing the billboard value, that's what they're talking about, these drop targets. Okay, so these drop targets, again, are pretty important. These drop targets will determine the value of the jackpot when you start multi-ball. So on the DMD back here, there are a bunch of amounts, right? It starts to 500,000 and then goes up by, 2,500 each level, all the way up to 2.5 million. Okay, basically you increase this by dropping down all 3 of these. So every time that you hit these 3 drop targets and knock them all down, your level will increase of your jackpot, right? And so you can get it all the way up to 2.5 million, and then when you start the main multi-ball mode and you hit the jackpot, that's what you get your 2.5 million. So, from a strategy perspective, it's always a good idea to try to get these things knocked down and build that number up before you start multi-ball. Again, we'll talk more about strategy in just a bit, but that is the billboard. Okay. The loop. Okay, so there is a loop. You can call it an orbit, but essentially it's this yellow arrow here. So if you shoot a ball up this yellow arrow, it will go through the spinner and back around here. And then there's another, you can't see it as much, but there's another yellow arrow here. And the ball comes right out here and down. I would say it comes down to your flipper, but it really never comes. It always hits below the flipper, so you can't really rely on this as a way to get the ball to the flipper because it always kind of falls below. But anyway, shooting this will actually increase your pop bumper scores, and if you can get them all lit, they can be 5,000 per pop, which can add up if you get the ball up in there. It also will potentially light up your spinner here to 3,000 per spin. So if you can hit that shot and get it through here and spin that spinner and ultimately what triggers the 3,000 light is it actually coming all the way through and coming down here. You can get that spinner as much as 3,000 per rotation. So again, that could be, if you get really good at that shot, that could add up over the course of time. But that is the loop, and you can hit it either way. So you can loop it through here, or when you hit the crossing shot from this this flipper, you can actually hit it through this way as well. So it essentially is an orbit and goes all the way around and all the way through. Okay, and of course, if you look at it too, hitting it this way and through that orbit, that is actually one of the zones. That's zone 6. Excuse me. Okay, so that's the loop. Jet bumpers we talked about, they are here. There's 3 of them, and then as you kind of hit the loop, they will increase in value, and they each will light. And then when all 3 are lit, that's when you get the 5,000. Okay, not again. That's not something that you're ever going to aim for or try for. It's just like something that you may get over the course of play. So wouldn't worry too much about that, but just wanted you to know the mechanics of it. It's based on hitting the loop, and when they all light up, that's how you get the most points for them. Okay, the spinner we talked about. Again, if the ball comes through here, that's what lights the 3,000 light, and if you shoot it through you get 3,000 per rotation. Otherwise, it's only 1,000 points per rotation. The captive ball talked about a little bit here. So again, hitting the center lane will increase the value for a limited time, and then if you hit that center lane, the ball comes back down here, and then you can hit the captive ball. You can collect that number of points all the way up to 250k. Personally, would I go for that? No, because chances are that is a deadly drain right back down the middle shot. So that is one of the shots that I would probably just kind of pass on. But you can go for it if you want. But the captive ball will also is where you can start or kind of activate the 2-ball multi-ball if you would like to do that as well. Okay, and then finally we have the zones. So as you'll see around the table, there are these little arrow lights, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 7 here, 8 here, and 9 is the captive ball. So those are your 9 zones. Okay. Basically, and I'll jump right into the main objective. The main objective of the table is to complete the lit zones on this building, right? And when you hit all of the zones that you that are lit, right, or that are required for that particular mode or objective, basically when you hit them all, the building will blow up and it'll sink into the play field, and then that will activate the locked ball. Okay, and so ultimately, you then will lock ball 1, do the same thing again, complete all the lit zones that you need to hit, then you'll lock ball 2. Excuse me. And then that's how you start multi-ball, and that's how you get your sorry, hitting the camera here. That's how you start multi-ball, and that's how you get all the points on this table. So so essentially, as you're playing and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the next objective, all you really need to do is look at this and see which zone light is blinking, right? So if you see, zone 1 is blinking here, zone 1 arrow is going to be blinking here as well. So that means you need to hit that one, okay? Same thing would happen. If zone 9 is blinking up here, you'll see zone 9 will be blinking here. It means you got to hit the captive ball, okay? So you complete all the zones. Zones are finished. You'll know that the zones are finished when the Earthquake Institute blows up and collapses, and then your locked balls will activate. Now, important thing to note: after you complete the zones for the first time, okay, you will get 2 options for locking a ball. You'll get the crossing lane option, and you'll get the shelter option. Okay, so for ball 1, you can lock either one. Okay, so let's say you get to the ball lock, you activate them both, and then you shoot and lock the ball here. Okay, then you'll have to go through and complete all the zones again, and then for ball 2 though, the only way to lock the ball is with the crossing shot. So it makes it a little bit more difficult because you have to be able to hit this shot in order to lock the ball. So important thing to note: ball 1, you can go with either. Ball 2 has to be the crossing shot, okay, or is only the crossing shot. All right, so okay, so you knock down the building, you lock ball 1, you knock down another building, you lock ball 2 here. Okay, now you're ready to start multi-ball. So what happens on main multi-ball mode? Okay, so you've got 2 balls locked. What'll happen is you'll have a ball eject into the plunger, and then you will need to plunge the ball, okay? As soon as you plunge the ball, then shortly thereafter, ball 2 will eject from here, and then there will be a third ball that I'm trying to remember offhand where the third ball ejects from. But essentially, all 3 balls will eventually get ejected into the playfield. And so what you need to do is, it's kind of a 2-shot combo. You need to shoot up the center ramp to activate the jackpot. Okay, so center ramp activates the jackpot, and then the crossing shot collects the jackpot. Okay, so it's 2 shots. So you have to hit the center ramp, and then you have to hit the crossing ramp to actually collect the jackpot. So from a strategy perspective, the kind of important thing to know is when you get the ball to start multi-ball and you're about to plunge, my recommendation is do a full plunge. Okay, so if you do a full plunge, the ball will come all the way through, and it'll come down this overpass, and it'll come right to your left flipper and set you up nicely for that direct center lane shot. Okay, if you try for the points here, which you can do, the problem is the ball drops down in here and then might come down the middle. It might come down this side. Like, you don't know where it's going to go because it's going to hit the pop bumpers and go in multiple directions, right? It could even bounce and come this way. So if you want to be your most efficient, then what you want to do is do a full plunge when the main multi-ball mode starts. Get the ball to come down here, shoot for the center lane, and if you hit the center lane, then from there you want to try to then get the ball set up on this flipper. And of course, the best way to set up the shot for this flipper is get a ball into zone 5, into this saucer. Okay, the ball will get captured for a few seconds, and then it'll eject right to this flipper, and then you go for your crossing shot. Okay, much harder, or much easier said than done is what I would say, because when you're trying to juggle 3 balls and you're trying to set the ball up and get it into this lane and then do the crossing shot, it is hard. It's hard to watch and concentrate on the crossing shot while you've got 2 other balls in play. But that's why it's the big points. Okay. And like I said, before you start multi-ball, you want to try to work on these billboards and get that value up, and whichever one is lit will tell you where, what your value is going to be. Now, another important note, when you get that value up, let's just say you get the value all the way up to 2.5 million, right? And you start multi-ball, you hit the center lane shot, and then you hit the jackpot shot, right? You're going to get awarded the 2.5 million, okay? Then the balls are gonna come back down, and then you can re-hit the center shot to relight the jackpot again. Okay. However, when you hit the center shot and you relight the jackpot and you hit the jackpot again, it's not gonna stay at the 2.5 million. It actually goes back down to 1 million points. So something to keep in mind, and I just don't want anyone to get surprised by it. You get the awarded amount for the first shot, and then it reverts to 1 million for every subsequent jackpot during that multi-ball mode. And then, of course, after you drain and multi-ball ends, you then go back to hitting your billboards and building that up again for the next time you get to multi-ball. So something to keep in mind is, hitting the first one is the most important. If you can get a million points on subsequent jackpots, all the more power to you. If you have a strategy where, you just want to hit the first one and then let 2 of the balls drain and then work on getting your next multi-ball, that's up to you. Because it is a ton of work to try to get, just 1 million points. But, again, in this particular table, 1 million points, though, is really nothing to sneeze at. So, okay, so that is the main multi-ball mode. I'm just going to check my notes real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I covered it. Oh, one other thing I didn't cover, Aftershock. So, if you start multi-ball mode and 2 of your balls drain and you have not successfully hit a jackpot shot, when 2 of the balls drain, there will be a 15-second hurry-up mode they'll call it, it's called Aftershock, but what you'll hear in the call-outs is get to the shelter, right? And you'll see the green light the green lock light will be lit, okay? So you have 15 seconds. If you can shoot the ball into the shelter, you can actually then restart multi-ball. It'll only be 2 balls, but you'll get another crack at getting the jackpot. So something worth knowing is you get that kind of that 15-second hurry up second chance at multi-ball if you miss the jackpot. Now, if you play and you hit the jackpot once and then you drain down to down to a single ball, you actually don't get the opportunity to do the aftershock, which is kind of a bummer. I feel like you should get it either way, but I think it's just their way of, it's really more their way of helping you to try to actually get that jackpot at least once. Okay, quick multi-ball mode. So this is the other multi-ball mode. So as I said, the quick multi-ball can be awarded either as a random matchup award or by hitting the captive ball when it's lit, which I believe you have to be at the 250 mark in order to activate that. But essentially, whenever you see this green lock light lit at this capture hole, that's how you know you've activated the 2-ball multi-ball. For the most part, I will get it at the random award in the shelter. That's generally, for the most part, how you're going to get it. But essentially, the 2-ball multi-ball, then you shoot the ball into here, that activates it, and what it'll do is it'll hold the ball there, and then it'll eject a second ball into the plunger, okay? Now on this one here, so remember on the main multi-ball mode, I told you to do a full plunge because you want to get the ball down here to shoot the center shot, okay? For the 2-ball multi-ball mode, it's actually different. You actually want to do a soft plunge for this one, because the soft plunge will actually make the ball go up here slowly and slowly kind of roll around in here, and it'll delay just enough to give you time for this ball to eject and come to this flipper so that you can make your 1 million point crossing shot, okay? So just keep that in mind. For main multi-ball mode, you want to do a full plunge. For the 2-ball multi-ball mode, you want to do a soft plunge because you want to delay that ball long enough for this ball to eject so you can hit that crossing shot without the other ball getting in the way. Because I've tried it on Pinball FX, and I believe it's the same case here. Of course, if you do a full plunge, the ball will literally time it perfectly so that it's reaching this flipper at the same time that this one is coming out here, and it never works out, and you're going to miss the crossing shot every time, or the other ball is going to drain. So this is a way to kind of delay that other ball, get it bouncing around in here and up around the pop bumpers, so that you can then just focus on this ball ejecting and then making the crossing shot. So for the 2-ball multi-ball, there is no big jackpot. There's just the 1 million point crossing shot. But at the same time, you don't have to hit the center lane to activate it. This million is activated just consistently all the time. So basically, as many times as you can make that crossing shot, you'll get 1 million points, which is good. Okay, let me see here. I think that really covers it. It really is straightforward mode on the 2-ball multi-ball, though, the quick multi-ball. Just activate it and get that crossing shot. Okay, so that basically covers all the stuff you really need to know in order to kind of, play the game and maximize your points. But I wanted to cover a couple of extra things here, a couple other things here. Extra balls. Okay, so there are lots of extra balls to be had on this table. I played a game earlier where I think I stacked as many as 4 extra balls on my first ball alone. But there are multiple ways to get extra balls, okay? So first way is mileage rewards. So this is what I talked about, why you want to accumulate miles, why you want to hit this ramp, even the crossing ramp. You get 3 miles here, you get 1 or 2 miles here, you can get miles as random awards. You want to just accumulate them as much as possible. If you reach 12 miles, that actually activates your first extra ball at only 12 miles, okay? And so when you reach the 12 miles, you'll see the extra ball light lit here at the shelter, so you shoot the ball in there, and that's how you collect your extra ball. You also get an extra ball at 60 miles when you reach 60. Okay, so that again might come a little bit later in the game, but again, a nice little bonus and another reason to collect your miles. Okay, so get to 12, get to 60. That's 2 extra balls right there just by doing your miles. Okay, but again, you have to make sure though you collect them here. They're not just instantly awarded. You have to collect them. Okay, replay. 3 million points. You reach 3 million points in this game, which isn't too hard. Boom, instant extra ball. Just like that. Okay. There is a jackpot extra ball. So if you look at the amounts on here, when you reach 1.5 million, there is the next one is 1.5 million and an extra ball. Okay, so if you get to that one, if you're hunting extra balls and you get to that one, and of course these are advanced by knocking down the billboards, when you start multi-ball, if you have that one lit and you make the jackpot shot, you get the 1.5 million and you get an extra ball. Pretty straightforward. I feel stupid explaining it, but that's what that is. 1.5 million and an extra ball. So like I said, if you have a strategy where you're hunting extra balls, you know, hit the billboards, get it to that one, and then start your multi-ball. Okay. Let's see. Mystery Award. Again, the matchup mystery award is here at the shelter. Sometimes it might award you an extra ball. I have yet to see that, so that is one of those ones that's kind of a rare extra ball. Special. Okay, so you have a special light here, and you have a special light here on each left and right outlane. Okay, the special, it gets lit by completing your 6th building. Okay, and that's these bonus lights down here. Okay, and I'm sorry, I forgot to mention these, so I'll get to them in a second. But there is a 6x plus light extra ball. Okay, so when you reach your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one, you light extra ball here, and then if you do another one, it'll be 6x plus light special, and that will light the special. And if your ball drains out the outlanes, it'll activate the special, so you'll essentially get that ball back. So that's another way to light special. And then, and so that's all of the extra ball ways to get an extra ball. But the one thing to keep in mind is, and I can't confirm this yet, but my understanding is that Zen will typically cap you at about 4 or 5 extra balls per game. So I think I got as many as 4, maybe I got more than that. It's hard for me to keep track while I'm playing, but keep in mind, you probably are not going to get more than 4 or 5 extra balls per game, and at that point, it just converts to points. Now, I know on the real, quote-unquote, real table, you can change that where it's like you can stack as many as 4 or 5 extra balls, but you can get as many as 9 in a game. I don't think that Zen has it set that way, but anyway, just one of those things to keep in mind. 4 or 5 extra balls, I believe, is the maximum on this. Okay. So I'm sorry, just jumping back, one thing I forgot to mention is, as you complete buildings and knock them down, so again, whenever you see a building blow up and fall into the play field, you are actually increasing your end of ball bonus. So it's obviously your first building, you get 2x, and it goes up from there, 3x, 4x, 5x, and then when you get to your 6x, and that's where you get an extra ball, and then you light your special on the outlanes. So the interesting thing about these, though, is that they are persistent throughout the rest of the game, right? So a lot of times bonus multipliers go away after you drain a ball. Not here. These stay. So very, very, very important, okay? And this is actually a nice lead in to my tips, okay? Don't sleep on the end of ball bonus. There is a ton of points to be had there. So this is your multiplier. Your end of ball bonus is actually, it's based on your total miles and your number of fault trips. And number of fault trips is the number of times you actually have successfully hit this lane, okay? So the calculation, and sorry, there's a lot of math here. So it's total miles times 1,000 times your multiplier, plus you get 20,000 points per fault trip, okay? So if you've hit this ramp 10 times, right? That's 10 times 2,000. That's 200,000 points right there, just in a end of ball bonus, and that's with every end of ball bonus, right? They don't go away, they stay. So the number of times you hit this ramp just keeps accumulating. The number of miles keeps accumulating, and then the 6x, or the 2 through 6x stays for the whole game. So if on your first ball you're able to complete a lot of zones and get these multipliers up, and you get a lot of miles, and you hit this a lot, like every single ball you are going to get hundreds of thousands of points, if not as much as 1,000,000 points, every end of ball bonus. It really does add up. So that's why I'm saying, get your miles, collect your crossing shots, get your buildings, get this multiplier up, as early as possible. It'll in the long run, it will definitely help you, right? Especially if you think about it, if you collect 4 extra balls in a game, that's 7 balls, 7 end of ball bonuses. It can be a lot of points. Okay, so getting into my tips and strategies, I mentioned this before. If there's anything to practice on this table, it's practice the timing of hitting the center ramp and hitting the crossing shot, right? Practice those 2 shots. If you can get those 2 shots down, you will master this table in no time. Okay? What I'll call pregame the billboard, okay? Don't get overzealous to start multi-ball without hitting these and getting that value up, right? If you do all the work to get to multi-ball and you hit the jackpot and it's only 1,000,000 points, it kind of feels like a kick in the nuts. Just saying. Use the crossing shot to your advantage. Okay, so one of the interesting things about this crossing shot, and I mentioned it here, okay, every time you hit this shot, it awards you one of your uncompleted zones. So if you have like a flashing zone, I think they said it's the lowest value zone, okay? So let's just say if you have to complete 5 zones, right? And you've completed 4 of the 5 and you have 1 left flashing in order to finish the building, okay? If you actually, when you only have 1 left, if you hit the crossing shot, it will award you that zone, and because it's the final lock to start the 2-ball multi-ball, you actually get credit for the lock too. So in one shot, you can actually finish the zone, finish the lock, and start multi-ball in one fell swoop. I've done that a few times, and it is huge, because otherwise you would still have to complete another zone and you have to make that crossing shot again. So if you can time it up where you're on your last zone and you hit that crossing shot, it's beautiful. It gets you right into the multi-ball, and then you only have to worry about going for the jackpot. So it's just something to keep in mind, is anytime that you can time that up and get awarded that zone, it just makes your life a lot easier. So something interesting, something to keep in mind is like you can, kill 2 birds with 1 stone with 1 shot. End of ball bonus we talked about. 99 miles. So as we talked about, hitting this center shot will award you 1 or 2 miles. 2 miles if this light is lit, and of course you get 3 miles for shooting up here, and then you'll get awarded miles for random bonuses. Okay, if you are able to get up to 99 miles, that is where the cutoff, that's where the miles cutoff is. Okay, after that, every time you hit the center lane, it's 200,000 points. Okay, so I have yet to get, at least on playing on this version, I've yet to get to the full 99 miles. I have done it on the mobile version, but 200,000 points per shot on this center lane, like I said, is nothing to sneeze at. You could, if you got to that point and you're really good at hitting the center shot, I mean, I know it could be pretty boring, but you could actually just pound that fucking middle lane over and over and over again, get your 99 miles, and then get 200,000 points per shot. That might be a nice little strategy. Even if you don't, even if you still go for your jackpots and stuff, it's like you could hit a jackpot and then go back to looping the center lane. I mean, you could do 5 times and get 1,000,000 points, and then go for a jackpot, and then tack on another 1,000,000 points. I mean, there's just something to keep in mind that getting the full 99 miles and then hitting that center shot, 200,000 points, worth noting. And then my last tip here is when it comes to, kind of, conservative and safe play, okay? So if you get really good at the center lane shot, if you get really good at the capture hole shot, and if you get really good at hitting the shelter shot, those are basically what you'd call the safe shots, okay? Because this shot here to the shelter gives you a nice eject to this flipper, setting you up for your next shot over here if you want to go to the to the capture hole, or if you want to try to backhand it up the center ramp. But it's a nice setup shot here, okay? Same thing with the center ramp. If you hit the center ramp, it's a nice setup shot to your left flipper, okay? And if you hit the capture hole, it's a nice setup shot for your crossing shot. So those are the 3 that are basically the safe shots. So to me, it's like when you're in doubt or when you want to kind of slow things down, go for those shots, and that'll be a nice, okay, set myself up for a nice clean, shot to my left or right flipper or the upper flipper. So those are the shots that are that what I would consider safe. So without further ado, that is the complete tutorial that I have. We're at about 41 minutes so far, so I'm gonna just try to play a quick game. So if you don't want to watch me play, you can drop off the video now. If you want to watch a little bit of gameplay, stick on, and yeah, we'll see if I can actually do all the stuff I was droning on and on about. Okay, so now we're here, we're at plunge mode. So what I try to do is I'm looking at the arrows here on the plunger, and again, I'm not sure if this is cut off on the video, but basically what I try to do is maybe go for the first yellow arrow. And see, that kind of hit the 25. Haven't really perfected that yet. And there's your cross shot. Oh man, okay. Okay, so like I was talking about right now, you've got the flashing lights, 4, 5, and 8. 4, 5, 8. Those are the zones I need to hit. 2 was lit. I already hit 2. So that's basically what I have to go for in order to complete that. You're going to find yourself doing a lot of slap saves. So this is a random award. Random award of 2 miles. Yay. I'm going to see if I can get it in that zone. So there's 2 things I can do. In order to collect zone 8, I can hit the center ramp. That's the cleanest way to get that in lane. Or of course you can go for the zone. I'm going to go for the zone 5 capture hole. Well, there's my 8 right there. And like I said, that zone 5, that's just me making it harder than it has to be. Okay, so that right there, I completed the first building, and now I can just lock the balls. Okay, so when you have the visual extras on, the building collapses and there's all kinds of animation. I don't have them on, so basically this is how I know So now I just need to hit either one of those 2. Okay, so as I said, my safe shots, quote unquote safe shots, would be to either try to backhand it up here, which is not super safe, or get it into zone 5. I'm gonna go for zone 5, see if I can make the crossing shot, and I didn't, and it drained. So much for a safe shot, right? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for a full plunge on this one so I can get the ball down here so I can go for the shelter and lock the ball. There you go. There you go. There's the thing going down. Okay, so I apologize. I got ahead of myself. When you complete it, it's when you lock the ball. That's when the building goes down. So now I completed ball 1. And now the zones that I need to do are kind of reset, for lack of a better term. So now I need to hit 1, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And you can hit them in any order, it doesn't really matter. Later in the game, they actually get more and more complicated, where you can only hit certain ones, or you have to hit them in a certain order. But the bottom line is, just like with any pinball table, hit the shit that's flashing, right? Okay, so on this one here, oh, okay, so I also have 8. I don't know if I mentioned 8, but 8's down here. All right, so I'm gonna try to do, again, a soft plunge, see if I can get some points. 25. Okay, so that ball went around the loop. Let's see if I can stop here and talk for a second. Okay, so that ball went around the loop, but even though it went around this way, it still counts as zone 6. So that's why I got zone 6 lit. There's my zone 5. Still missed that crossing shot. Completed all of lanes, and this is what I talked about. So before I could lock a ball in the shelter, now it has to be the crossing shot. It's the only way you can do it. So so this is the thing that's tough, because now I've got to get the ball to this flipper to make that crossing shot, and it is not easy. So I'm just trying to get those miles up. So it's always safe to get the miles up, or if you shoot into the shelter, that's a good way. Shoot in the shelter to get the ball over onto this flipper, so that then you can get it into the saucer. Try to get it into the saucer. Try to get it into the saucer. Bounce in and out. Oh, God, okay. Stay there. That zone 1 can be a real pain in the ass. Man, get in there. There we go. You hit that zone 1 wrong, it's coming right back at you down the middle. There you go. There's the crossing shot. So, like I talked about, nice setup. Okay, so now, this is what I talked about before. Now we're ready to start multi-ball. This is the 3-ball main mode multi-ball. So for this one here, I want to do a full plunge to get the ball to come all the way down to my flipper, and I want to go for the center lane. That will light the jackpot. I'm also noticing I got my extra ball lit over here. Not quite sure what I did to get that. I'd have to look back and see it, but I think it might be just the number of miles. I think I passed that first mile marker of, 11 miles, 12 miles. Okay, so anyway, stop talking. Full plunge. Oh, and it didn't even come all the way around. I did a full plunge and it didn't come. So, what you want to do is do your best. Oh, God, just screwed up the multi-ball right there. Okay, so now this is the shelter hurry up that we talked about, and I missed it. Now I'm not gonna get it back. Come on. Get in there. Okay. So now I collected the extra ball and I started, so the shelter is your hurry up to restart multi-ball, and so that's what's happening right now. So now it's gonna be a 2-ball multi-ball, but I still have an opportunity. So there you go. Hit the center shot. Jackpot is lit. And I screwed. Oh man. I missed it. So anyway, you just need to hit the crossing shot for the jackpot, and I screwed that up big time. Okay, so now this is quick multi-ball. So now, let me see if I can get this started, and you can see the other, show you the other multi-ball. Come on. In and out. See if I can get a nice generous bounce. I don't like doing the nudge pass. on Zen tables. The physics are too heavy. I don't like it. Okay, that's twice it's bounced it out. Come on. Okay, so now I completed all the zones by accident. Now all of these lights are lock lights are lit, but if I hit this one, this is going to start the 2-ball multi-ball. So I want to still do that. Okay, so this is 2-ball multi-ball. So now what I talked about here is this ball is going to eject to this flipper, and this is where you want to hit this million crossing shot. Okay, so you want to do a soft plunge to make sure that the ball stays up here for a second while you hit that cross shot that I just missed twice, 3 times. Son of a... And that's exactly what I'm talking about with the trying to keep those 2 balls going is pretty hard. Oh man. Okay. So now I still can lock the balls. Which I just got, so you just heard an extra ball, and I locked ball 1. And that was a very dangerous backhand shot that I can't say that I recommend you guys do, but hey, if it works. Hey, I hit a crossing shot when I don't need it. Ay, ay, ay. But hitting that crossing shot is always a good thing because it spots you a zone. Oh, I was gonna try the... That's stupid. Okay. Oh no, oh no. Ah! Okay, I don't know what happened there. Alright, that was a little bit weird. That was a drain and it ejected another ball for some reason. Okay, so I've got 2 extra balls going right now. God! Okay. What I was talking about with other versions of this table that I've played, I've never had that issue with the ball bouncing out like that. Usually it goes right into that saucer, no problem. So this is that is very specific to the 4K and the physics. But that is why that captive ball shot is not super safe. Get this crossing shot. Come on. Get it again. Got it. Okay, so 2 balls locked. This is multi-ball, so now I'm really annoyed. This full plunge should make it all the way around, but it's not. And there goes 1 ball. Alright, so I did like the jackpot shot. And there you go, there's the jackpot. 2.5 million, that was max jackpot. Nice. So now, like we talked about, okay, so maybe the information I got is wrong because I'm still at 2.5 million up there, so maybe it doesn't reset. The information that I saw said that it resets. So maybe ignore that or try it for yourself. Oh boy. As I said, man, that is a nudge and flip at the same time slap save that you have to do a lot on this table. Oh, come on. Alright, let's go for the 2-ball. 100K billboard. Come on! Get in there. So I intentionally let that crossing shot go because I'm going for the zone 5 and the multi-ball. There we go. So this is a quick multi-ball. So this is again like we talked about. Soft plunge. I'm gonna do a full plunge and see what happens. Yeah, I'm gonna get the crossing shot for a million points. Oh, I was too early. There you go. Oh! Oh, another million point shot. And another extra ball. Damn, I'm good. Ah, that's it. Come on, come down, come down. Oh, damn it. There's a ball 1 lock for that. So I just completed. This is what I'm talking about. There's another extra ball right there. So there are lots of extra balls in this game. And that's ball 3. Or block ball 2, but so now we're starting on the ball again. God, I really am annoyed that this full plunge doesn't go all the way around. It's supposed to. Really hard to keep track of a crossing shot with 3 balls on the table. Yeah. Okay, see, I'm gonna get the hurry up shelter. There's the shelter. Aftershock, so I've got 2-ball aftershock mode. Problem is I didn't have the jackpot activated. Son of a... I thought I was active, and it wasn't. Well, that sucked. So as you'll see right now, I have the specials lit on the outside lanes, so if I drain out the out lanes... Oh boy, right now. Oh man, I almost tilted there. So you'll see what I was talking about before. So you see how all of these lights are flashing, okay? But only 3 is flashing here. That means you have to hit them in this particular order. So right now, 3 is the only active zone I can actually hit. So if you have a hard time with a zone, you can then go for the crossing shot. And it will give you that. Spot you that zone. Get in there! Okay, so now I got spotted zone 3. Now I gotta hit zone 4, which is there. Here's zone 4. Zone 5 is that capture hole. Let's see if I can do it. The ball's going to eject over here. Oh my god. in there. Twice in a row. Alright. So I drained, that sucked, but it collected the special, so I got extra ball. So I'm at 83 miles right now. So that's about 400,000 points. So I'm not that far away from... Yeah, so I got almost... I was about, what, 800,000 points, almost 1 million points, just at end of ball bonus. And I'm on ball 2, and I have a bunch of extra balls left. Let me see if I can actually see that. Status report. I got 3 extra balls right now, and I'm on ball 2. That and that end of ball bonus stays. Like, I'm gonna get that every single time. I'm only gonna add to it. And my outlane special is still lit over on that side anyway. So that could be another extra ball. Okay, so I need to hit the center lane in order to collect zone 8 here. Alright, and then now I need to hit the capture ball or do a crossing shot. Oh! That's just not being focused. But you see, I'm getting the same end of ball bonus. So trips is the number of times you hit this lane, and of course miles is the number of miles collected from hitting the other ones. So that just is going to keep going up and up and up and up. Okay, so that spotted my final zone that I needed. So now I just need to lock the ball. Okay, so now, we talked about this before, so you have all these lights flashing, but I gotta hit 1 first, and then I'm sure it's gonna go 1, then I gotta do 2, then 3, and then you have to do them in numerical order. So the more early on, it doesn't matter what order you hit them in, but as you go, wow, so there you go. I got spotted 1 for the skill shot, and I just hit 2 on that crossing shot. And I can try to hit 3 directly. It's probably not the smartest thing to do. Just hit 3, tapped 4. So, oh boy. Am I gonna get lucky? No. So there's a middle pin there that I forgot to mention. Man, with the Zen physics though, that pin, it's not like a Magic Pixel game where you're going to get help off the pin. You're probably not going to get a ton of help there. And so now as soon as I start talking about all the extra balls I have and where I am, like, I start squandering them left and right. So I have pissed away a lot of balls. But again, that's kind of the main point of this, is the further along you go in this game, I can't believe I just did that. The further along you go in this game, the harder it gets. And you're seeing it now. I'm like draining balls left and right. Now that was just unfortunate. And I'm glad they're not too much. So I think this is the last of my action balls. So, that is exactly right there what happened was just talking about. I was on my last zone, and I hit it with the crossing shot. So the crossing shot gave me credit for the zone, and it gave me credit for the second ball lock. So now I'm going right into multi-balls. I was ignoring the ball that was down at my main flippers so that I could focus on just getting a crossing shot, and I missed the crossing shot and the ball drained. I let the ball drain. That's the chance you take. I was willing to let that ball drain and hit the jackpot shot, but I missed it. Shots to hit that crossing shot. So I'm just looking here. Wow, how did that not hit that billboard? Oh boy, that is definitely a shot you do not want to do. You never want to hit that zone 1 directly like that. It is usually going out. Oh, get up there. Close to my 99 miles, so I can hit that center ramp. Yep, end of the road bonus. That's that 200,000 points. So I could literally just pound that ramp, 200,000 points on top. It's not easy to do every single time, but if I'm really locked in. Oh boy, right down there. One of these times you're going to see me tilt on that. So right now for me, that center shot is never a bad idea. 200,000 points adds up. you can see my random award, they keep just giving me the 100,000 points, because they're certainly not going to give me an extra ball. It would be nice if they gave me one of the awards is complete a building. Jinx myself, but I might be. At the time I'm recording this 26 million might be number one on the back class, but surely not going to last long. But oh boy. Dead flip. Center lane, come on. In a row. Can't do more than that. It's gonna be another 100,000. Oh, zone completed. Well, I'll take it. Get up there. Alright, quick multi-ball. Let's see if I can get it. Get in there. Okay, so as we talked about, again, a full plunge because it doesn't come all, oh, now it comes all the way over. God. Alright, wow, saved. Got the million shot. Love it. No. Nope. Oh boy, right down the middle. No. I get too reliant on that middle pin. I'm talking about. See, I'm not full of shit, guys. End ball bonuses. They really, really, really let up. So that is the video. That is the tutorial. That is me playing and getting a personal best. 30 million points. Yay, and I got a free credit. So anyway, this ended up being a long one, but most of that was me playing. I didn't realize I was going to play that long, but 30 million. I like it. I wonder if that's number one on the back class. I do not know, but I guess we'll find out in a minute. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, anything I didn't cover, anything that I got wrong, please let me know in the comments. Again, I appreciate everyone watching the video, and you know, if you watched all the way to the end, thank you for that. Keep an eye out for my next tutorial, man. I'll try to crank out more of these Williams tables. I'm way behind, but life has just kind of happened. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, all that stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.